Hi, I'm John Noble, president of NASMGA, and one of the new features of our website is going to be some golf tips from the various club pros of NASMGA. I'd like to start with our first club, Woodmont. This is Scott Sheldon, the head pro at Woodmont, and he is going to talk about probably the one basic swing motion that most amateurs don't have, and that is getting the hands through before you release the club. Phil Mickelson uses it, for example, in his short game. He calls it his hinge and home. Scott?
Hi, I'm Scott Sheldon, the head golf professional here at Woodmont Golf Club. Through my years of teaching lessons to many different level amateur golfers, the biggest problem that I have seen or come across is what we like to call in the business as the scooping or cupping of the wrist through impact. People do that because they feel as though they need to help the golf ball in the air, and they think that if they kind of flip their hands at the ball, that's going to help get the ball up in the air. Sometimes it works, most of the time it doesn't. So what we want to try to do is we want to, instead of having, string linguini here, we want to have Bethlehem steel. We want that left wrist, or our leading wrist. If you happen to be a left-handed golfer, that would be your right wrist. But you want your top wrist to always be firm through impact and let the hands lead the club head. One thing that you'll notice if you ever watch and break down the professional swings of the guys and gals that you see on TV, the one thing that they all do very well is they have their hands out in front of the ball at impact, and they are able to whip or release the club so fast through impact, but they do it with a firm wrist, and they allow the natural loft of the club to get the ball in the air. A good drill for that would be to take a credit card or a popsicle stick and stick it on your wrist, on the back of your wrist here under your watch, or if you want to use rubber bands, you can do that, and then just practice hitting shots where you're concentrating on keeping that wrist stiff and your hands rolling over, your right hand rolling over the top of your left. Or again, if you're a left-handed golfer, that would be your left hand rolling over the top of your right.
Scott, one of the keys that I use that's really helped my swing along is to think about pulling the club butt first toward the target. Does that help?
That's a very good comment there, Mr. Noble. Another problem that we see that leads to this scooping or cupping is a lot of people feel like they have to. I don't like to use the term pull down because that generally relates to a pulling out, which creates an over-the-top motion. I like to kind of tell my students that I want to see them release the club down the line, down their target line with either their right hand or their left hand, which then gets the hand in a rolling motion and not a scooping motion. Another sports analogy, you hear it all the time in bowling, shake hands with the head pin. Well, let's take our target in golf, and if we're right-handed, shake hands with that target. And that helps get the hand working over instead of under.
So the point of the lesson to remember is to get the hands through before you bring the club head through.
Correct. If you want to hit more solid, more consistent golf shots, you want your hands to always lead the club head and be in control of the club instead of the club controlling you.
Scott, thank you very much.
My pleasure.